Let me warn them because I
Yeah.
honestly thought it would be easy.
So, welcome. I'm so excited to have a chat with you, Natasha. Are you
Me too.
happy that you've made the big move and maybe just get into where you are? Tell us where you are in the world.
I'm in the Netherlands. I've been here 6 months. Yeah, I'm in Leiden, well, it's actually a rural area outside of Leiden, which is a university town. So I quite like it because it's got cobblestone streets and windmills and green grass and lots of cows and sheep. And
Wow.
where I stay is actually on the Rhine. So the ships come past and people come past on their bicycles and everything's green. And you know what's the best?
Uh,
There is no crime.
oh
There
my
is no
goodness.
crime.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I used to lock everything up. My brother used to, he leaves everything open. They don't close their curtains here. So people, when they ride past, they look in the window and they wave at everybody. And I would just get stressed out because I want to lock everything. And then one day I locked the front gate because he went away. And they delivered a pallet of chlorine or something. It had 150 kilograms of stuff on it
Gosh.
on the driveway, in the middle of the driveway, because they couldn't get in and I couldn't get my car out. And I said,
Oh
okay, well,
my soul.
I was late for work.
Oh my
So
goodness.
now the gate stays open and that's okay.
And it's okay. Well, I suppose after 6 months, a person learned that it's okay. But I think that's probably one of the biggest adjustments for South Africans moving
Yeah,
overseas, not having to look over your shoulder the whole time, being able to get on a bicycle and go and ride around the countryside and go for walks without worrying about it.
yeah, yeah.
I,
Look, I mean,
I,
all cities have got crime, but it's petty theft.
yeah, well, I must tell you, I can't even imagine doing that. I mean, I live in Hermanus and I'm literally 250 meters away from the ocean. I've got the most beautiful ocean view. In fact, I think Hermanus is probably the most beautiful place in South Africa. And our
Yeah,
crime used to be very low, but I mean, we've had a murder committed down the drag, literally about 400 meters from our house a couple of
yeah,
months ago. And we still don't know what happened. It was a guy that was lying in the street one Sunday morning with a stab wound. Now, we don't know if he was stabbed and dropped there or, I mean, a person don't want to even think about these things. So, consequently, I've told my kids, you do not walk unless it's late afternoon when people are coming home and there's traffic. You cannot go and walk in the middle of the day. You can't walk after dark. There is just no such thing. But Natasha, it's fantastic that you've moved. Tell me quickly what was the driving force? What made you decide to go to the Netherlands?
Well, I've been teaching fitness classes for 20 years. After 20 years, besides being bored, my body is no longer feeling the love. So I decided I wanted to coach, which is what I've been doing, but people just don't have money in South Africa. And
Yes.
the other reason, so I can't get work. Being a white woman is virtually impossible.
Yeah.
The work I can get is maybe what 10,000 rand a month or something. And for every person that says I can't live off that, there's another 15 that say they will be prepared to do it.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and that was the one reason. The other reason was security,
Yes.
the safety. I see the country going downhill. I went to a wedding last year. My brother got married in Holland, and I saw a perspective because I left the country.
Mm.
Because I went to France and I saw how beautiful it was and how everybody was living, you forget when you're living in South Africa, you kind of just get used to it. It's like a frog in boiling water,
Exactly. Yeah.
and you start thinking, well, it's not so bad. We've still got freedom, and we've still got this, and we've still got that, and at least it works. And when I saw that, I thought that was it. I came back and I realized South Africa has become a dump. It hit me for the first time, and that was just my defining moment where
Yeah.
I said, there's no future here, not for me, not for my children.
Yeah.
And so I decided I needed to go. My brother said I could come and stay with him. So I have been, but my plan isn't to stay here for very long. I actually plan on going to Italy.
Oh,
But
yes. Fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. So, but this is a good place because I have a Dutch passport. I've got a place to stay in the meantime for me to just, you know, fly there. It's a 2 hour flight or an hour and a half flight. I
Very
can go
easy.
look around, take some time, and then come back here instead of trying to do it from South
Mm.
Africa.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is just my stopover.
I think I talk to people. I've got a friend in Sweden, and I'm hoping that she's going to buy in and do a podcast with me as well, because they've been there 2 years now. And what really strikes me is the fact that people overseas in Europe and Canada and, the Americas, they travel so easily. We
Yeah.
don't travel. South Africans don't travel because it's too expensive with a rand. And, there's always a drama when you have to travel from South Africa. It really is difficult. So it's nice to be able to, hop over to France and hop over to Italy. I mean, it's idyllic. It's like flying from Cape Town to Joburg. That's 2 hours.
Yeah, but it's affordable because I think the flight from here to Italy was 100 and something euros, which is 2,000 rand. But for 100 euros, when you're earning in euros, it's not much.
No, well, it's costing us almost 5 grand now for a ticket from here to Joburg, if it's not more. Unless you really,
Yeah.
really find it, somewhere very cheap. But it's expensive to travel, so we just don't travel. Natasha,
Yeah.
tell me your experience when you arrived there. I know you've got a Dutch passport, but you've been living in South Africa for how long? How old were you when you came to South Africa?
Well, I grew up in South Africa. I just went to school in Holland when I was in primary school for 4 years.
Mm,
So luckily, I learned the language. So for me, it wasn't so difficult to adjust to learning the language. However, I didn't speak it for all these years from the age of 11.
yeah.
So to try and speak Dutch in the beginning was just like deer in the headlights. Some of their sayings, they've got all these sayings that even my brother, who's been here 26 years, doesn't know a lot of them. But yeah, that was hard. Now it's easier. I try and speak Dutch, but what they do is Dutch people can speak English, most of them. As soon
Yes.
as they hear you struggling, they switch to English.
Yeah.
And then you can't learn to speak it because they're speaking to in English. So I had to tell them, listen, I actually want to practice my Dutch. So please let me speak in Dutch. And then you could see they get a bit impatient. But yeah,
Okay.
so it
Yeah.
was all right. Arriving here was good. I haven't missed South Africa, I'll be honest. I
Really?
miss my friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't miss all that drama, that heavy energy that was there. I don't miss
Yeah.
it.
I just think we are constantly, constantly living in anxiety, and it's become the norm. I think it will be a shell shock to go somewhere and not live with it because it's become part of us.
Yeah. Well, if I hear something banging or a door, automatically my body reacts.
Yeah.
And I think that's just from also having being broken into so many times, having people with guns. Yeah. So that
It's
is a trauma
harsh.
response.
It is harsh. I think every
And
South
people say I'm
African.
overreacting.
No, no. I mean, it's terrible. I think every single South African should be getting trauma counseling, quite frankly, because of what we
Yeah,
are
you know what?
going through and it's
It's
reading
so
and
normal.
seeing. It might not
Yeah.
happen to you as a person. I mean, we've been broken into like 4 times in 1 year. Luckily, nothing serious happened, but still, you live with that fear every night you go to bed. My son, that's 18, goes every single night before he gets into bed, checks all the windows. We never sleep with windows open downstairs. Never. We lock, make sure everything is locked. Because you can have
You know,
burger bars, they still get in. But
yeah,
I mean, that's how my kid grew up. So automatically, he's already traumatized. It might not have happened in a serious way, but still, we are
doesn't
all
matter.
living under this cloud. But yes, we do it. We live like that. Look, I don't
Yeah.
want to be totally negative towards South Africa. It's a beautiful country. But I think every single person that I speak to say the decision, their pivotal moment was either a break-in or a friend or family member that was hurt in the process, and they've just decided to go.
Yeah.
So Natasha, how do locals react to newcomers in the Netherlands? Are they
You
accommodating?
know, Dutch people have got a word. It's called gezellig. So
Gezellig in
I don't know what
Afrikaans, yes.
yeah, like there's a specific type of way that they are. Even their tone of voice, it's like very up,
Mm,
up and musical, and everything's gezellig, and they want to have a cup of tea. I mean, even when you look for work here, it's unreal. When they post a job in the in the beginning, I was laughing about it because when they post a job description, the first thing they say is how you're going to get along with your colleagues. They call them colleagues, workmates, and you arrive, you're going to sit down, have a cup of coffee, catch up a bit. Lunch is at this time. It's so much fun. You work with your team. That's how they sell their jobs.
gosh, you
And you've
can't
got to
beat
read between the lines because between the lines means if it's a family owned business, it means you're going to work bloody hard and they're going to keep you isolated. But the way it gets presented, it's like
it's
we, we all love each other and we work together as a team. Be prepared. If you're a person who likes to roll up your sleeves and get going, then you know they're going to kill you.
uh,
But they present everything because otherwise people just won't go for a job
yes.
because they are short staffed.
Yeah.
But in the hardworking positions, not in the higher up positions.
Mm.
So, but that applies to the way that they are. And what I did find though is the questions are all the same. So, where are you from? Do you like it here? How long have you been here? And then it dries up.
And how long are you intending on staying?
And
Most
then it
probably.
dries up. Yeah, yeah. No, they don't. No,
Oh,
I just say I've moved here. So, do you
okay.
like it? That's it. So it's been very difficult for me to make friends.
Yeah.
Where I'm working now, there's a lot of foreigners, a lot of Polish people, and they don't speak much English either or Dutch,
Well, yes.
and they keep to themselves. So yeah, it's been tough for me. I mean, I've met my brother's friends and that they're very nice people, but
Yeah.
I find it's very superficial. I miss the South African depth of conversation,
Yeah.
where I think when you've experienced, like you speak about, when we've experienced all this heavy traumatic experiences, we talk deep issues.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And in Holland, it's kind of like, don't go there. You must all be normal. No one must stand out. Even if you go for a job interview, don't dress up. If you dress up, they say you try and impress. They don't like it. They try
Oh,
and,
okay. But
yeah,
that's a little bit, it sounds a little bit like that's pulls towards a socialist type
yeah,
of,
yeah. It feels very much
situation.
like that.
So
Yeah.
you've got to
Everything is
stay in that
do
little
normal.
box. Yeah,
Yeah.
just toe the
Just
line.
behave normal. Don't
Be
don't don't drive a fancy car. No one
uh,
drives fancy cars here. They don't want people to see they've got money or anything like
that's
that.
weird. A person
They ri-
that's
and they yeah, they ride on their bikes to save money because everything's about money here. Like there's a reason why they say Dutch people have got short hands and deep pockets because they all
okay.
save money.
Gosh. But I mean, the Netherlands used to be an extremely wealthy country.
Yeah.
For decades, I think they were one of the wealthiest countries in the world. So that's probably why and where it came from. So tell me quickly, in terms of housing, how has that been? Has that been a challenge for you finding a home? You said you
You
are
know,
living with your brother at the moment, but what's the
yeah.
challenges? Because people going over, that
Let
we
me
read
warn them.
things, but we don't embed it and embody it.
No, let me warn them because I
Yeah,
honestly thought it would be easy. No, let me warn them because I
yeah.
honestly thought it would be easy. You can get a grant from the government once you're written in. You have to be written in, first of all. You have to have an address. Everything your address is your central place. If you're not written in, you can't access any of the services. You can't even get a bank account.
Sure.
So, and you can only be written in if there's space in the premises for you. They'll even come to your house to check to see that you're living there.
Okay, okay.
So So if you're staying in a two-bedroom flat, you can only have three people for argument's sake in that flat. They will say there's four people, you're not allowed to live there.
Oh
So
gosh.
that's how they check.
Mm.
So there is no housing here. So if you want to be written in on the social housing, you get a government grant, which is a lot of money. So it's really cheap. I can get say, 650 euro place, which is quite big, and get 300 euros back. So it would cost me 350 euros for a house that's like a three-bedroom townhouse type thing, which is
Gosh.
cheap.
Yeah.
But you have to be written in and you have to pay for the social housing for 7 years. Now, where do you live for 7 years in the meantime? And
Yes.
you have to have been written in for 7 years. You can do an emergency inquiry under special conditions, but that's only after 2 years. So if you don't go the social housing route, you go the private housing route. The private housing route is 1,200 euros for the same place to 1,500 euros.
Oh yeah, that's a
And you
lot.
have to earn four times the salary. Now, the base salary is 2,300 euros a month. That's the minimum wage, which most people earn. It's across the board. It doesn't matter what you do. So if 2,300 euros is your base rate and you have to earn four times the rent,
You
then it
fall
means you can
short of
only
it.
rent for 650 euros a month. You can't rent for 1,500 euros, so you're not going to find a place. And
Sure.
because of that shortage, there are people, they've got apps that you pay for. If you're looking for a property here, you have to pay to talk to the landlord on the website. And it's between 20 and 40 euros a month to belong to
Wait.
that real estate website.
Gosh.
So they will list the properties for free. As soon
Mm.
as you want to contact the landlord, then they say, no, join this website. It's 30 euros for the month.
Mm-mm.
But then you want to apply for another one. That was also 30 euros. And this website's also 30 euros. So before you know it, I've spent 100 euros in on three websites.
Good
That's all.
heavens.
And then you only can apply. And then they say the first 10 applicants are the ones who are going to be given viewings. And then the landlord gets to choose who they allow. So they get to look at your credentials, your credit history, how long you've been here. If you haven't been working and earning a payslip for a year, they won't even look at your place.
Mm.
So
So that's
so be
very
prepared.
challenging.
Be prepared. Yeah.
Yeah.
So unless you know somebody or your company's paying for a place, you're not going to find it. My daughter was lucky enough that she knew somebody on Facebook who was moving out and they subletting. But
Yeah.
she couldn't even write herself in under that address because supposedly the other people were living there still.
Good heavens. And tell me, what about food? Food costs. How is the food? Are you enjoying it?
Well, their food is almost the same price as South Africa. So I can tell you, don't be surprised. It's very affordable. Not eating out though. Restaurants are ridiculous. We
Yeah.
went, a pancake is 10 euros. So that's 200 Rand for a pancake.
Jeez. Yeah.
If I have a cup of coffee, it's 350 and up. So maybe 5 euros even. That's 100 Rand for a cup of coffee. But that's eating out. If you order online or you buy food for home, it's a little bit more expensive, but it's almost on par.
Okay.
So not bad. They do like paprika in everything, red peppers.
Wonderful. I
Paprika.
love paprika. I can do that.
Yeah, that's in all their foods. If you don't like it, you're not going to eat well, yeah.
And what about nutmeg? Don't they also love nutmeg?
Yes, yes. They've
Ugh.
got Sinterklaas, which is St. Nicholas Day coming up on the 5th of December, and they're
Yes.
all buying these nutmeg and gingerbread biscuits and stuff.
Oh my word. All right. So the other question that I've got, and this is work and daily life in the Netherlands. Are you adapting with the weather and all of that? I mean, you already said it's stunning, it's beautiful, it's you can walk anywhere basically. But how are you finding
Well,
the adjustment? I don't think you've been there over the winter period yet.
I'm in middle of winter now. It's
Okay.
yeah, it's coming up for. We hope it's going to snow.
Oh
I haven't
man.
felt it to be honest, because everywhere is heated. You
Yes.
get out the house. I mean, I've got a jersey on, but I'm warmer here in winter than I was ever in South Africa, even with the
Yes.
heater on
No, because we're not geared
under
for
my feet.
winter.
No, we don't have it. So they've got energy labels in the places according to the insulation and all that. So I haven't felt it. In summer, if as soon as the sun comes out, that's all they talk about is when's the sun coming out. Then they all go outside and you see them tanning on the boats and stuff like that, which is great.
So coming
Um,
back to the boat story, have you ever considered, I know they've got houseboats in Netherlands. Have you ever considered something like that, or is it also not something a person can look at?
you know, not available. They only allow a certain
Oh,
amount of houseboats. They have to be moored at a certain place. It's not that expensive, but there's a waiting list.
oh,
So I even had this idea to buy a tiny house. My brother's got a huge piece of land. He's one of the very few people. And he's got a whole separate garden that's surrounded by a canal that he could put something on. But because of the way they've done the housing here, he cannot put a permanent structure up. So he's applied to the municipality to put a temporary unit. But if it's temporary and he has to put on the sewerage and the electricity and all that, it's going to cost about 10,000 euros just to set it up. And they might say
okay.
in a year, take it down.
Mm.
And I've tried to look, we even went to a mobile home, like they call it a recreation park. They've got some where you're only allowed to live for 9 months of the year, no, 7 months of the year during the summer months. And then you have to vacate. They switch off the water and the lights. So where do you stay in winter? And then it's affordable. It's about 400 to 500 euros a month. And then there's a place that you can go to where it's all year round. My brother took me there, and I felt like I was in the Jerry Springer show. It was stunning.
Oh, no.
He said to me, he said, I think they wanted, because they wanted to meet me to see if I was of the right ilk, you know. So we went there. He said, I
Oh,
think they wanted to see if you still had all your teeth so they could take
oh,
them out.
God, no, that's too funny, Natasha. Person don't even think it's possible overseas. That's funny.
Well, that was fun because that's like the worst place. And I mean, it's nothing like South Africa, but it was pretty, pretty run down. They were a
Oh,
bit
my
scary.
word.
I said, you're going to make me depressed. There's no way I'm going to stay here. No
Shame, man. All right, so we're going to be wrapping up soon. I'm going to wrap up, but I think there's so much more to talk about. I'd like to hear your plans on possibility of Italy. When you go to Italy, person's got to. I've actually interviewed someone in Italy. She's been to Costa Rica and she was, I think, in Peru, if I'm not mistaken, and she's now in Italy. She's also a nomad, goes everywhere. She's loving it in Italy. She just said the bureaucracy and trying to get in is an absolute nightmare. So, but I think most of the countries are like that. They trying to keep their borders closed.
Well, I think if you've got an EU passport, it helps a little bit.
Yes.
I would hate to know what it's like for somebody that's not European to get in because it was tough just for me with the European passport. But what is ironic is there are a lot of refugees here. They've given them housing. They've given them 6,000 euros to buy furniture.
Sure.
They've paid for their flights. I've met some of the refugees because when you write yourself in, they actually make you go on a course to get familiar with the lay of the land. They actually sent me to a life coach for a whole month to learn
Gosh.
how to write a CV, to learn how to approach people for jobs, all that kind of. It was amazing. I took it because I thought, wow, who gets that in South
Course.
Africa?
Yes. Gosh.
But I met all these people that were refugees, and I mean, the one lady I got here with she literally had her passport. So that's all they had, her husband, and her two kids. And they left Afghanistan to come here.
Yeah.
And but it's been tough for her as well. And she said because they get the Dutch people, they might say come here, but the people don't really want them here.
Mm.
So yeah, it's difficult
No,
for
look,
them.
at the end of the day, as long as you do it legal, I think it is extreme. Well, I know it's extremely hard. I mean, we've got South African passports.
Yeah.
And we've been entering the USA green card lottery year after year because, I mean, you can't take a chance of going over and it's not legal. You're going
Yeah.
to burn your fingers. I would never be able to close my eyes at night. I would always be worried that coming to deport me. So you've got to do it legal. And I think there's a lot of hoops to jump through, especially if you're on a South African visa. Um,
Yeah.
Yet to find the people that says it's easy. I've done it like this and it was legit.
No, I haven't either. Although I do know someone that did move there from South Africa, but I've lost contact with her.
Mm.
She's also Natasha.
Oh, is it? That's
Yeah, she
interesting.
moved there. And then, yeah, she got
Yeah.
married there. So, but that was quite a few years. It was about 15 years ago.
So, Natasha, you also have a podcast. I want to quickly just mention your podcast on here. Maybe you can just tell us what your podcast is, so that people can follow your journey as well. It would be nice for them to go and have a look and see a little bit more about Natasha. And then we're going to wrap up and we're going to have another conversation maybe in about 5, 6 months' time, just to see how you've integrated. You've only been there 6 months now, and we can just follow your journey a little bit. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, sure, with pleasure. Yeah, so I've got a YouTube as well, which I started a year ago. It's called Spiritual Warrior Journey. So maybe not for some people, but those who are interested. We talk about, I've interviewed people that have had near-death experiences, psychics, trauma coaches, anybody and everybody that's got something to do with something that they've experienced that's changed their life and created meaning and purpose in their lives.
Yeah,
And yeah, I've interviewed some amazing people. I had a guy who lost his leg and he got cancer on top of it, and he says it's the best thing that ever happened. You know, it's not what happens to you, it's what do you do with it.
yeah,
So some amazing people that are just ordinary people from all walks of life that have had experiences that are not ordinary
yeah.
and just sharing their insights. So yeah, if people want to follow that, they
That's
can.
fantastic. I suggest you all go and have a look at that. I've watched a few of those interviews and it was absolutely mind blowing. Natasha, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, and I truly believe that people will find value in this. And if you're interested in subscribing and finding some more information, I'm going to put out a lot more interviews and going to really try and do at least 2 videos every week, so that we can get it out. I know I stopped, but we're back online and let's get cracking on it. All right, so thank you so much. Good luck, and I will chat to you soon.
Yeah, thank you.